Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bro. When I come back in another video, today we're going to be taking a look at my week 12 and my week 12 predictions and see how I did. And we're going to be taking a look at my week 13 and see what I'm going to do. So I went 11-5 this week. So let's see how I did. Okay, so first game, I really thought Detroit was going to be able to pull it out against uh against the Packers. So yeah, I think that they're gonna pull it out. I think that they're gonna pull it out. I thought that they were gonna pull it out over the Packers. They couldn't do it. New Orleans versus Atlanta. I didn't think Atlanta was gonna be playing that well. They hadn't been playing well, but their defense stepped up and got them this win in this game, and that's what's big. Tampa Bay versus Indianapolis. It was a close game, and I didn't expect Tampa Bay to take it because, especially with the way that Jonathan Taylor played the previous week, he was playing really good. Now let's take a look at our other loss, Carolina versus Tennessee. I thought Tennessee wasn't going to be playing that well, especially, but now Carolina's fired their head coach, so I think things might be changing in new directions, hopefully. And finally, Minnesota versus Chicago. I thought Minnesota was going to be able to pull it out against Chicago, but Jordan Addison couldn't get 2 feet in bounds, and that's part of the reason why they lost that game is because Jordan Addison couldn't get his 2 feet in bounds, and they would have gotten a better field position. They would have been able to score on that play. There was nobody around him. He had the ability to. So let's take a look at my week 13 predictions and who I think is going to win. First game we have Seattle versus Dallas. Seattle is a great football team and has a great thing, but Dallas has just been so good against these teams, and I really think that Dallas could pull this out against this amazing Seattle team who I don't know if Kenneth Walker is playing this week, which is part of the reason. Now, Indianapolis versus Tennessee. Tennessee did not play that good against Carolina, who is arguably is probably the worst team in the league. And I think the way Jonathan Taylor has been playing and how he's coming back, Gardner Minshew is a great backup quarterback, and I think probably one of the best in the league when it comes down to just being specifically a backup, not as a starter, but as a backup. He's up there with Tyrod Taylor as a person that can step into that starting role and will play up to a decent standard. So I think Indianapolis is going to take the win. Atlanta versus the Jets. I think with the big news of Aaron Rodgers possibly coming back on Christmas Eve and Atlanta not being that good of a football team right now, needing to work on some other things, and the Jets defense is going to take advantage of bad Desmond Ridder, who's just been playing not as good, and that Jets defense being so dominant that I think that that's where they're going to come into play. Detroit versus New Orleans. I think Detroit will come off that loss with with chins up and just come in hard and be physical against this New Orleans team who hasn't been looking really the best this season. And yeah, Denver versus Houston. I do have Denver winning, but I can see Houston winning in this game. I just don't know. Denver's just been on such a good streak recently. They really have been like one of the teams to beat this recently with their ability to just be such a dominant team against beating the Chiefs, playing such good football out there. And that's what I think is going to be part of the reason why they're going to do so well. Now let's take a look at Chargers versus New England. I think New England has had a terrible game against the Giants, a team that's offensively was struggling the entire game. They did great defensively against this team, but other than that, the Giants did terrible against this New England team. So I think that with the Chargers with a really good offense and an okay defense, I don't know if Joey Bosa is coming back this game. I can't remember, but off the top of my head. But even with that, I think that Chargers are going to easily take this win. This could be an upset win, but I don't think part of the reason is like, and I'm not trying to say this, but Belichick did waste a very high pick on a position where he could have not taken a kicker, and the kicker's playing like garbage. If he was playing really good, I wouldn't be on him. I wouldn't be like that. But yeah, Arizona versus Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game. Yes, Arizona's going to has been having really good games, but I think this Pittsburgh team has been playing really well and has been doing really well, especially after getting rid of their offensive coordinator. And first game without him, gets 400 yards. Haven't done that in over 3+ years, seems like. So that's definitely been a huge role. Now let's take a look. Miami versus Washington. Easily Miami. I think Washington's defense is okay. They need to work on getting the outside, especially trading away their 2 best players defensively. I think that if the Giants were able to do this well against this Washington team, I think Miami with this high-powered offense, crazy abilities, that Miami's going to take the win over this over the Commanders. Now Carolina versus Tampa Bay. With Carolina switching, getting a new having an interim head coach, and having to switch around the entire team in a very short amount of time, I don't see them winning this game. Tampa Bay has been looking like a solid team this year. I'm not saying that but they could win. They could win the South. They could also lose the South in a situation. But yeah, San Francisco versus the Eagles. I think that depending on how they play, this is really a coin flip. This is, I mean, the odds favorite is the Eagles, but the Eagles have not been looking like a dominant team. I mean, last week they were going neck and neck against the Buffalo team that was absolutely horrendous with Josh Allen, because he's been throwing a lot of picks. And the previous week against the Chiefs, where they could have lost that game if the receiver would have caught it. So that's going to play a huge factor into this game. And this team can be beaten and has been seen to get beaten if they can if you have the players in the right time and right position. This team can easily be beaten. It's going to be hard to stop their offense, but you can beat them in the pass game, it seems like. Now let's take a look at Cleveland versus Rams. I think with Flacco back there, and he hasn't been playing a real starting position in almost 2+ years. Yes, to me, I feel like Flacco is maybe not a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely a Ravens legend and will be retired in the Ravens Ring of Honor. But I don't see him taking out this Rams team, who I could in 2 years be getting a new QB. But they have the ability they have good players, they have a good team surrounding them. Kansas City versus Green Bay. I have Kansas City winning this game. 2 years ago, this could have been a Super Bowl matchup. Now it's an easy Kansas City win if their receivers can make these catches. Mahomes isn't throwing the ball that bad to them. He is a great quarterback, but and Jordan Love played phenomenal against Detroit previous week. I don't see in any world that this Green Bay team will be able to beat this Kansas City team. Now, finally, we're going to look at Cincinnati versus Jacksonville. If Burrow was playing, this would be a different game. But with Burrow out for the rest of the season, I think Jacksonville is going to easily take the win. Offensively, Cincinnati hasn't been looking like that team that we've seen before. And I think with that injury to Burrow, it's changing the whole dynamic of this team and changing it all. And I feel like Jacksonville had a great win. It was a very tight game against the Texans. But as we've seen previously, the Texans have been a struggle for the Jaguars especially earlier on in the season. So we knew that game was going to be tight. But I do think Jacksonville will pull out this win. We'll take the dub over the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow. So yeah, guys, that's my predictions for Week 13. Let me know how you guys think I did. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know. Peace.